Welcome back. Welcome back to everybody. Hello. Here we go. We are coming back here in Pint of Science with Couch of Science. And today we have a special episode with a lot of friends all around the world. My name is Michele. I will be your host for tonight. And today is a special day, actually, because today we are celebrating the 7th anniversary since the birth of Couch of Science. Pint of Science. And actually here, this is a picture of the very first event that was ever done with the name of Pint of Science. It was in UK, the 14th of May, 2013. And so today we decided to gather some people from all around the world. And we are going to discuss about Pint of Science, and we are going to discuss also about science communication, because it's what actually Pint of Science want to do. Spread the word of science in a way that actually is easy for everybody, and that actually you can enjoy while you're drinking a nice beer or a coffee or whatever you want. So prepare your beers, and I want just to introduce all the team that today is going to be with me, starting from one of the other member of the Pint of Science Belgium and member of Couch of Science. We have Michael.
Hey there.
Hi, Michael.
How are you? I'm
Good.
fine.
Good. Perfect. And after Michael, we have from Mexico, actually, a very nice friend of us that she's going to speak with us about the experience of a Pint of Science festival online, which was the solution that Mexico decided to apply to follow and to overcome this pandemic situation. Michelle, hi, welcome.
Hello. Well, hi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Fine. Thank you to be with us. And from another country, from America, this time from South America, we have the representative, another Pint of Science community, which is one of the biggest one in the world, which is the Mexican one. The Brazilian one, and he was involved in Pint of Science online, also for Brazil. Is going to is going to share with us his experience. Luis, welcome.
Hello, guys. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And then actually we jump on a plane, even though actually we cannot really do with this pandemic, but we will do mentally. And we go back to the north of America, and we have a member and actually responsible for Pint of Science US, and is going to share with us something very interesting about storytelling and science communication. Marcus, welcome. I think you are in mute. So careful with.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Marcus. Oh, good. I see that actually you are dressed up for the big occasion, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yes. And then last but not least, we have directly from Kenya, Johansen. Hi, Johansen. I hope that actually you can hear us because here we go. Yes. Hi, Johansen. How are you? I think there is a bit of delay, but I think we are fine. Okay, anyway, Johnson is going to share with us a very peculiar situation. So this will be the first year for him to join Pint of Science. He's responsible for Kenya, but this situation actually stopped everything. And so we are trying to discuss with him if there are any solutions that he can put together. If you have any tips from the audience, probably all of us will be very, very happy to hear. And okay, it's just... leave us for a second, but probably is coming back very soon. I will just leave the stage right now to Michael, which is going to introduce this topic, so science communication, with a very brief presentation. And
we're not going to cheers?
Oh yes, of course, of course.
I didn't drink it. I have an excuse to drink here in Brazil.
That's a very good idea, actually. Actually, yes. Forgive my bad manners. Actually, yeah. We should all share. Cheers, also
Cheers,
you guys in the audience, if you want. And okay, so Mikael.
Great. We're going to talk about science communication. But first of all, did you know what happened on the 14th of May, 1796?
No, actually.
Matteo knows it because it's the first injection of the vaccine of the smallpox that have been done.
Oh yes. We thought about it. We talked about it at the very one of our episodes, I guess, 3 or 4 episodes ago. Probably you can find in our Facebook page or YouTube page the episode if you lost it. And yeah, there is also an explanation why vaccines are called like that, which was very interesting. And so this is a special date. In the end, it's a very, very special date, the 14th of May.
Yes, exactly. But today we are here to talk about science communication. So science communication actually appeared as science and philosophy grew, so really, really far away in the ancient Greece. Science discussion took place in public debates where understanding and thought were debated by the whole society. During the Middle Age, science was not communicated much or only to the elites, as the spread was mainly done by books and not so much people were able to read. Following this in the invention of printing, and as people were able to read, science books were spread. With the Enlighteners philosophical movement, science was discussed in salon and cafe, and the knowledge was spread through the encyclopedia and created and there and by the academias actually that popped up around Europe and also the USA. Of course, this history of science communication is based on an Occidental view. I'm quite sure there is a lot of science communication in the Arabic world and Chinese as well, but unfortunately I don't know it.
No.
So yes, as you can see in the slide, this is one of the first book of scientific vulgarization. So it's called The Newtonianism for the Ladies. I won't talk about the title. And it's written by Francesco Algarotti, that is Italian. It has been translated to French. Actually, I might read it. It's available on the internet. And thus, it's just explaining simply the rules of optic and light on 6 discussions with Newton. So you can go to next slide.
Here we go.
I'm doing a presentation. In 1831, the first association for science communication was created. It was the British Science Association that was created to obtain a greater degree of national attention to the objects of science. This association was the first of its kind and was created to promote understanding and adhesion to science and technologies. They used to have a yearly science festival in UK and a science week, but no, don't see any similarity to any association you may know. This association was mostly renowned for one of the debates that was in 1860. So the very year after Darwin created his theory about evolution. So Thomas Huxley, a biologist and philosopher, defended there the theory of Darwinism, saying to Wilberforce, a priest of Oxford, "I am not ashamed to have a monkey as an ancestor, but I would be ashamed to be connected with a man who used great gift to obscure the truth." He talking about great gifts. He was talking about the church.
Oh wow!
So during the 19th century, science was mainly discussed between scientists as they were discovering it and going through it. But as the 20th century began, we have seen a growth of science communication to society through international expositions and mainstream media that appeared. From 1930 to 1970, science was given a salvation to society. So it was there to sell the concept of science to the majority. It was centered on a deficit approach, so which aimed to fill in the gaps in the knowledge of the general public on a top-down approach, meaning that the scientists teach the public audience. That's it. Nothing on the other side. So the vulgarization was still perceived as bad science or low-degree science. But what appeared from the 19th century, thanks to the rise of the media, some scientists became public figures. It was a revolution, as for now, scientists need to communicate to society and tell them more to engage discussion. It was a two-way dialogue that aimed to discuss with the society and policy as well, because there was a lot of hot topics there. For example, nuclear energy, drugs, genes, or pollution already. But also, it was also there to ask questions about humankind through science fiction or thought experiment, for example. Remember the cat of Schrödinger. So citizen science is growing as the access to science in the making at this time. Oh, sorry. First thing I wanted to talk to you about, now we are talking about the early 2000s, where we see the end of the paternalistic top-down science for public communication. Now it's two ways, and there's no other way. So citizen science is growing as the access to science in the making as well. Also appeared new mediation, for example, us, Couch of Science, and social medias and the rise of the online newspapers. SciComm is now at the frontier of two worlds: the academic world through the publication, the papers, the congress, and the precise vocabulary, and on the other side, the economics and social that aims to fund and sell science, but that is also the link with entertainment, society, and their thoughts. So the scientists now receive more feedback on from society and research, and the current research is less elitist and enhances local specialists. Now, scientists need to spend more creativity to pass their message. So we're going to discuss this today. And I'm very pleased to just give the mic to Marcus, that is going to help us on how to do proper storytelling for talking about science.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. This may, hopefully this works. Let's put it that way. And let me know what you can or can't see. Let me open this up now.
Okay, give us a second. I think that now we can. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. Perfect.
It's there. You can see?
Yes, we can see it. We can see it.
Very good. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Marcus Rohn. I am a science communicator and educator. So I teach people about science communication. And to pay the bills, I'm an intern program manager at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in the United States. So I want to talk a little bit about the science of storytelling. I want to start with a story about George W. Bush. So George Bush was the 43rd president of the United States, and he was not taking pandemic planning very seriously back in the 2000s. But in 2005, he read a book called The Great Influenza by John Barry, and he changed his mind. And one of the reasons he changed his mind, it wasn't his science advisors or any statistics. It was the stories that he read in this book. And I think it's very important for us to remember that stories are what really influence us. And in fact, I was reading an article on the web a few weeks ago from this website called slate.com, and the author says the pandemic should remind us of the importance of lived experience and effective storytelling. They state, that the East Asian countries had they were more effective in containing the virus because people remembered what it was like to have other outbreaks of viral diseases. In the United States, we didn't have that same collective memory, and so we are pushing back against some of the procedures that are in place. And so I want to remember that it's important to talk about statistics, certainly, but we also want to remember to tell people stories. Stories are more impactful than statistics. And you can find some stories online right now, which is kind of nice. Here's one of the websites, quarantinestories.today. You can see there's one story there in Belgium. I hope after this presentation, some more people go on there and share a story, maybe take a picture out of their window and take a look and see. Give a story, tell us your story. Tell us what's going on in your house or in your region on how you're dealing with the coronavirus and the quarantine and that sort of thing. And so I think it's our job to tell more stories. I think it's worthwhile to do that because storytelling is incredibly effective. And we're going to talk about how effective and why it's so effective. So humans are storytellers, of course, and we have been for thousands of years. In fact, if we go look at some of the data from an anthropological standpoint, what we see is that when we first were able to control fire, when we could have fires, people spent 81% of their time standing around that fire talking, just telling stories, which is pretty amazing. And if we look at this paper, and I'll share these slides, you can look at the paper later on. If you dive into the data, what you see is most of the time was dedicated to stories. But the second highest number up there is actually complaining. And I find that kind of amusing, right? We like to tell stories, but we also like to complain. So that's what people have been doing for thousands of years. Now, if we look at this from a different perspective, we see that storytellers are preferred social partners and have greater reproductive success. And what the authors of this study say is that storytelling can evolve via individual level selection because we have people that are good storytellers, we have greater reproductive success, they then produce better storytellers, and they go on to have better reproductive success, which is pretty amazing to think about. Maybe we're evolving to become better storytellers. So it's certainly part of our culture and our history, but there's another part of it, right? Storytelling is actually hardwired into our brains, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Let's talk about the physiological part of this or neurological part of this. There was a gentleman by the name of Paul Zack, and Paul Zack was on an airplane. He was watching a movie called $1 Million Baby, and he began to cry uncontrollably. In fact, he was crying so hard that when the movie was over and he took his earphones out, the person next to him asked if he was going to be okay. Well, Paul Zack wanted to know why he began to cry so much watching this story. And he's just some random person on an airplane. He's actually a researcher. Paul Zack works at Claremont Graduate University. He's a neuroeconomist. And his lab was one of the first labs to discover that when we hear a good story, we produce oxytocin. Now, oxytocin, if you don't know, is the chemical or the hormone that our brains release when we begin to love or trust someone. So if you want people to love your science or to trust your science, one of the best things you can do is tell them a story. And if we look at the data from the paper here, we see that they were taking blood draws before and after a narrative, and they found that character-driven stories consistently cause oxytocin synthesis. So there's a blood chemistry aspect of this, but there's also a brain activity aspect. And that's we get brain scans from an fMRI machine. One of the people doing this work is Yuri Hassan, and you can go on TED.com and look at his TED Talk. And what he does is he scans the brains of both the storyteller and the listener. And you can see some of the research here. And what his lab has found is that during successful communication, the speakers and listeners' brains exhibit joint temporally coupled response patterns. In other words, the same areas of their brains are lighting up at the same time for both the speaker and the listener. So it's very impactful when you're telling a good story. You're actually causing people's brains to light up. And if it's a good story, causing them to release oxytocin. Now let's look at this from a social science perspective. In that case, we see in this paper from Stanford Social Innovation Review that storytelling is the best tool we have for helping people care about issues. People are more likely to remember information they get in narrative form. So let's review. If you want people to love your research, trust your research, care about your research, or remember your research, the best thing to do is to tell them a story. But that doesn't mean they understand your research. So let's look at that for just one moment. In this journal called the International Journal of Science Education, they asked a bunch of science communicators, experts in science communication, and what they said is effective science communication frequently uses the tools of storytelling. So if you want to communicate effectively, you also should be using storytelling. It's an amazing tool. This is a great quote from Paul Zack, I believe. When you want to motivate, persuade, or be remembered, start with a story of human struggle and eventual triumph. It will capture people's hearts by first attracting their brains. And my call to action for all of you is to tell a story. Will you share your story with someone, either about your science research or about your experience during the pandemic? Remember these times and tell those stories and pass those stories on to others. It's a great way to be impactful for people to remember what we're going through now, or your research if you want to communicate that. So thank you so much. I would like to share this quote with you because we're going to talk about the future of science communication. But I like this quote from Jesse Stanchek from the American Chemical Society. Science communication isn't about you, it's about the future of science. So thank you so much. And I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Marcos. It was a very, very nice presentation. And actually, you underlined something very interesting, that probably storytelling is under our DNA. And if you think about it, storytelling is something that, as a friend of mine used to say, is the only thing that we do that the rest of the creature of this world cannot. So we are the only one that actually can storytell. And this is amazing because it makes us human being, and it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful.
I'm actually really impressed and interested in the website you shown with the stories of the pandemic. I'm going to go for a look at it, definitely.
Yeah, it's very good. Thank you. Thanks. That was very fun. Thank you.
And so while we continue with this fantastic event, I would just to say hello to some of our audience. We have Renata, Anna, Elodie. We have also people from Pint of Science Greece. Hi, guys. How are you? I hope everything is fine there. And there is also Nell that she's saying, in Belgium, we are better at complaining than at telling stories. This is an old joke that in the end, each country has it. I mean, I don't know why, but also in Italy, we always used to say that we are the best in complaining. And in the end, every country, now we know why. So Marcus explained why, because we love to do it. Since we love to do it, we are good at it.
So cool. I'm going to complain less about French people complaining.
So, and we have actually two other speakers that are here to share with us their story, which is about the solution that they found to continue to spread the science word through an online event. So, Louise and Michelle, how was it? You were able basically to put together a Pint of Science online in the previous 3 days, because maybe not everybody in the audience knows, but in theory, before the pandemic, the Pint of Science, which is a global event, so it happens at the same time all around the world, should happen between the 10th and the 13th of May. And this was not possible, of course. But some of the countries, they decided to reinvent themselves. Here in Belgium, we do this Couch of Science experience. But in Mexico and in Brazil and other countries, they decided to do a Pint of Science online event. So we have here the pleasure to have the two representatives from these two countries that we are going to share with us this experience. I don't know who wants to start, but the main question is, how was it? Was fun? Was good? Because I already know something, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay. I'm going first, right?
Go
Okay.
on.
I'm Michelle. I'm from Mexico. So I will share our experience. I don't know, there is my screen, right?
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, this is our new image, actually, for this year. So here is our first day on Monday 11. We have 2 speakers, and also the May 12th we have 3 speakers, which I think was the best day of our experience. And then May 13 that we have two speakers. So this is the image of all of them, and also two of the volunteers that are excuse me, but sometimes my English is not every day. So this is Paulina, and this is Sandra, and they in all the event, they conduct all the event. So which are the experience? I mean, this was all the statistics. I must say that I'm really proud because we did this in just 1 week. 1 week before we contact all the speakers, they say, okay, I mean, which was like, oh my god, thank you very much, because we are really rushed on this, because all the pandemic, normal life, and just working and done. So it was really crazy. And at the end we have prom of the 1,000 people, just viewers in all the 3 days. So I was really happy of that, because actually I was expecting maybe 30, no more. Because also in Mexico is really difficult science. I mean, we are a developed country, so there is not much science communication. There's not science culture. So in this thing we are expecting maybe 15, no more, and 1,000. Oh, I mean 100, but like, okay, we did it good. They the 2 hours of the event, the all the people was there, so we're really happy on that. And also because much people is following the our social media, so we are really happy with the experience. I think we did the right thing to choose the online events, because we're not sure also for September, because Mexico is still in phase 3. So government is not announced what is going to be on September. Just maybe that normal life will be able to conduct in September. So not sure. So maybe this is the best way. Also was cheaper, I think. It was cheaper. Can be easier, because when you have the Pint of Science in 3 days, it's crazy. Your life is completely 24 hours on Pint of Science. You run from one pint. You're always on your email, your cell phone, and so on. So in those 3 days was like, okay, just half of my time is on this. But we're really happy in Mexico because of this. So I I'm not we are not too much people at Brazil. I'm still waiting Brazil presentation. But for Mexico, I think we are really, really happy.
No.
Mexico is dealing good with the COVID. Mexico is laughing of COVID since December. I mean, since December was like people doing piñatas about COVID, and Mexico was like, okay, this is Mexico. We don't eat just sometimes. So COVID was okay. COVID cannot kill us because we're Mexican. So come on, we can eat almost the ground and we're still alive. But it's kind of difficult because I live in a border with United States, and all close to San Diego and so on. So that part of United States, it's heavy in COVID. So the border in Mexico is also expecting what is going to happen in United States. But the rest of the Mexico is good. I mean, we are until today. There are a lot of people that don't believe in COVID. They think that is a government conspiration and that China want to control us. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we hearing
We all
that
share that
it's a
thing.
really good thing that you're able to share about science.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Congratulations. Well done for the.
Yeah,
And
congratulations.
yeah, actually, we have also so Pint of Science Mexico say hi everyone. So also from Mexico. And actually, there is a nice question for you, Michelle.
Yeah, tell me.
So well, well done for the events in Mexico. So from Praven, and also she or him, I don't know. Do you know if people joined across Mexico or just the big cities? So this might be something interesting. Do you know if is you have also people from small centers, villages that actually joined online, or it's you cannot say that? What do you think about that?
I
Province or
think
chief?
they join from several cities. I mean, Mexico it doesn't have a lot of big cities, just 5 or 6. Well, Mexico City is about 25 million of people, I know, but the other places are not really big. So they join us for several parts of Mexico, which also are really nice because some of those cities they don't have a Pint of Science event, so they just follow the social media. Which are really good because they are like, oh, I want to have a Pint of Science in my city, so how can I do it? And that's really good. And right now we are just thinking about what we are going to do, and well, let's see what's happened. No.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, your story about the piñata is having a lot of success. Celine is asking, I kind of want to see a pictures of the COVID piñata. So
Okay, I will just search the picture and
okay, perfect.
maybe
That
after
yeah,
Luis I can
yes,
share.
exactly. So, guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions, not just for Michelle and Luis, but also for Marcus, please go on. Just write it in the comment section, and then probably after we will have a small Q&A, and we can reply to all of these questions. Now, Luis, actually, you are the director of one of the country, or probably the country with the highest number of cities involved in Pint of Science. So for you, actually, was a kind of challenge to manage everything, and actually, you were able to do a new event online. And how was it? You had a good experience as Michelle?
Yes, no, I think Michelle's story was great. We share a lot of things in common because we don't sleep a lot during the days. I think it's cheaper to do an online event for sure. And I was in bed at 10 o'clock. I was, what? It's a Monday?
What?
10 o'clock. I was like, oh, I can't sleep now. I can. Because I was so energetic.
Too excited about
Yes,
that.
so
Yeah.
excited about that. Okay, I was in the bed like for 12 on the morning, like at midnight. I was still okay. It's Pint of Science, and I also drink a lot of beer, so that's why I'm there. So yes, Brazil is the biggest country in numbers of the city. For this year, we should have Pint of Science in 183 cities all around Brazil. So every capital of the states should be participated. We postponed the dates for the presidential event for September. I hope we can do that by then. Otherwise, we're going to do online because it was such a good experience, such a fun thing to do, that we want to do some more. Because this online event that we did here in Brazil was a centralized one. So just me as the host, and all the others, the other regions did not make a parallel event, because otherwise it's going to be 108 events all over the internet. Nobody gonna know where to watch. What is this? This is Pint of Science.
Yeah,
Pint of Science.
yeah.
So for the first time, okay, we're gonna just do one event per night in the national team. So that's how we did here things in Brazil for this year. I'm gonna share, so you can share the screen right now.
Here we go. It's
The
coming.
art that we came for the Pint of Science online event for the thematic thing that we did online. Let me pass here. So for the first night, we talk about how Pint of Science is here in Brazil, because we have 7 different regions here in Brazil. And Pint of Science is different in every region. So here in São Paulo, I'm São Paulo, here in Brazil. It's very different from Manaus, for example. It's where the rainforest is. Pint of Science there is very different from here, from São Paulo. So we did this big meetup, online meetup, to tell about people how is the Pint of Science outside São Paulo, how the Pint of Science is on Brasilia, or in other cities around the country. It was pretty fun. It was pretty nice. So because we can share stories about, like Marcos was telling about storytelling. It's a different culture here in Brazil in different states. So it's very good to share some stories with all the people. It was a very nice event. By the end of the night, on the same day, on Monday, we did a fake news on science topic. It was very fun. It was very good also because we invited Natalia Pasternak, that was the former national director for Pint of Science. So from all the beginning, since 2016, she was the national director. And this year that I am as the national director, but she was there to talk about fake news in science, because in Brazil it's crazy about the COVID, not just about the COVID. A few years ago we had a miracle cancer pill that was a thing here in Brazil, and Natalia came out as one of the most scientists to speak out for that kind of thing, to try to debut that miracle cancer pill. So she became very famous here because of that. And now we face the same thing against COVID. Like in Mexico, in other countries, probably there are some people that don't believe that COVID is a real thing, that the virus is a real thing. Besides that, here in Brazil, we have a very peculiar political thing right now. So we have two parties. One that hate each other and the other that hates the first one. That's it for here in Brazil. And one is against science, is not taking science serious. It's different here in Brazil because we don't know who to follow. Yes, I know who to follow, but people here in Brazil, they don't know who to listen, because the president says something, the other guys say another thing, scientists says a completely different thing from our president. So people here in Brazil don't know which one, what to believe. So it's a difficult time. So in Pint of Science, the first event was about this, to try to bring to people something so they can learn from the science perspective. So it was very, very good. On the second day, we invited a teacher a professor from Amazonas, from Manaus. He is in the middle of the pandemic right there. It's crazy. His father got COVID on the same day. He was in the hospital, so he just came to the Pint Online Science event, so he can fresh up the idea. He was so inside, take care of his father, that I need to relax a little bit. I want to talk to you about science. He works mainly with the diagnostics for COVID and vaccine development also for COVID and other virus. So he's the second line of the front. First is of course the medic, the nurses, and he's like we say here, he's in the second wave of this, in the second front line of this. He's in the research thing. So that he had a very good time with us. He told us after the event that, thank you guys to invite me. I need to put my mind on something else other than my father on the hospital. So it was very good. Yesterday was the last day for the Pint of Wine experience. Oh, sorry. We use these tools. We can talk later about this, but this is the main tools that we use to do the online event. Okay, so this is the picture of the last night from the last event. Carola, she's an astrobiologist, so she studies things from a perspective to try to colonize Mars. So she studied mainly yeasts that can support a lot of high temperature, high gravity, so things like that. And she was on the brewery. Yes, that's the word. Brewery factory. Or make beers, okay? Because in Pint of Science Brazil, we are going to make a beer just for the festival. And yes, we have Carola. She isolates wild yeast just to do a special recipe for our beer. That should be ready right now, but it's not because of COVID. So that's another thing. But she was right there to trying to come up with the recipe for this beer.
You're going to ask Belgian directors to do for that, definitely.
Well, for sure, we need to do that.
Once you have it, actually, you need to ship us a box, and we are going to ship a box of the Belgian one. Okay?
No problem. We can do that. It will be a pleasure. And Bessa is also a regional coordinator here from Pint of Science São Paulo, and he's also a researcher. He researches how animals behave when they are isolated. So animals, not just with humans, but he studied with, I think, some kind of wild cat here in Brazil. And he was talking to us about that. How is the animals stays like when they are took out from the natural environment, you know? So, and then afterwards we did a parallel with our situation right now with a human psychologist. The QR code that you're seeing here is for a campaign that we did to raise funds for institutes that are are fighting COVID-19. So universities, research institutes, they're trying to come up with alcohol, to EPIs that to protect people, face masks, gloves, all that kind of things. So the QR code leads you to a page like this, and then you can donate for different regions from Brazil. So in the North region, there is some kind of institute. They're doing a campaign that they want something to. They want us to donate to them, so we can support to fight COVID. And now for all the regions was like that. And the first one is for crowdfunding. The crowdfunding is responsible for us to make the beer, so we have to reach our goal, so we can craft the beer. It was very good because during the online event, I think we managed to gather like 10,000 reais just during the event, so it was very good for us. Here are just some pictures from people all over the internet. They are sharing their how they are watching us during the online events. Okay, so different parts of the country here, from the different kinds of different days during the online events here in Brazil. Also, I put 2 times that same cup because it's very nice.
That's great.
Here we have a guy in the middle, one of the middle pictures. He's holding a Erlenmeyer, and he have a DNA tattoo on his arm. Okay, so wow, he's a very science guy. I think most of our guys are Jews. We have people with the apron are right there with the research, like a research couple there, and people drinking beer. That's what is good for us, because that's exactly what we're trying to. Not to compensate, but it's a way to do our conditions right now.
You must love your community.
Wow, they're great. But the comments on during the online events, some of them we can't put online because there are people showing other things. but they are great. It's amazing thing to do this kind of thing here in Brazil, and the community here is great. They are doing the Pint of Science. We're just doing the show for them. It's very good. And here are just the numbers that I got early on. For the first day is the bottom one. We had like 10,000 views by the beginning of the morning. And the last one is 2,000 people, almost 3,000 people that saw us online. So it was very good. I think there's a lot of live events going on here in Brazil, most of them for country music. And yesterday there was one, I think, of samba or country music. So we are competing with them. So it's good. 2,000 is good. On Monday, there's a space for us to do again. You see, because we have almost 10,000 people. On Monday, we don't have a lot of other lives. So probably it should be a good day for us here in Brazil to do more events on Mondays. And this was just the final slide that I have for here. It's our during the whole event, we want to take for granted, not take for granted, want to homenage to praise who are fighting, okay, COVID-19. So we are by the end of the show, we are raise our glass and say, oh, cheers, stay well, so fique bem, and we just have our social communication medias down there, and that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Luis. Actually, thank you for sharing this. It was a very nice story, very interesting, and it's crazy actually the community that you have in Brazil that is very responsive to this event. Yeah. And actually, I see a lot of information. Giovanna say that you were able to raise $2,000 during the event for the beer. So that's for your crowdfunding for the beer. That's very nice.
Giovanna Almeida is my sister.
Oh, okay, perfect. Perfect. And actually also Praven, which I have to apologize, and she's a she.
You for sure you need to apologize.
She's a she, and she's also one of the founder of Pint of Science. So thank you to be here, Praven. I probably ruined my possibility to rank up in the Pint of Science organization. But thank you to be here, and happy birthday, actually, because it's also your birthday today, because today is 7 years of Pint of Science, so you have to celebrate with all of us. And guys, if you have any other questions from the audience, I don't know if you, Mikael, you have a question for
I have one, actually. My question was to know for Brazil and for Mexico, if you changed your program, if you stuck to science, only science, not related to the current news, or if you did it another way. So maybe in Brazil, how was it?
Sorry, I have a problem with my phone. Can you repeat, please?
It's okay. So for Brazil, did you change the program so you're speaker, or did you keep some of the one that were remaining, not talking about what was in the hot topics in the newspaper?
Yeah, no, we did the both things. You know, we leave COVID for the background, but we are talking about a lot of different things. You know, we talk about, for instance, the fake news thing was not just about the COVID-19. We have a lot of, like the cancer pill. We talk about that. On the second day, we have the history of pandemic. So it was not about COVID-19 because it's very new. But we talk about the Spanish flu and all others pandemic that we already faced. And it was great because Ethel Maciel, that was the professor that I was presenting, she bring pictures of the art pictures for how the artists represent the moment by then. So she was telling the story about, okay, this is how they represent, this is how the people at that time see the pandemic. And was pictures of paintings like that, dead things, people get carried by well barrels, you know, that kind of thing. So that was good because she mixed some art, some science, some history. It was very nice.
Great. Great. How was it in Mexico? What was the program made of?
Oh, the program was completely new because the speakers that we already have confirmed, we just moved to September. So, in order just to keep the same speakers, we found a new one. So, uh, we don't repeat. And about the themes, they was completely different from COVID because fake news is so much in Mexico social media. I mean, uh, one of the things that in Mexico happened that people is put alcohol gel in the dog's pet because because people think the dog just keep the COVID into the house
To the house.
or into
In the
people.
post.
So
Yeah.
come on, there is a lot of dogs in the veterinary because the people just put the alcohol direct into the pots. So
Poor
we
dog.
think that right now is the best, not just to forget about COVID. I mean, just to have another experience and to get a little relaxed. So I think we have a really good with response. I don't know if I can share the pictures of the piñata.
Piñata, please.
Okay, I will.
Please do it. Please do it. We are
Yeah.
all curious about it.
Okay.
Here we
Yeah.
go. I think I have it here.
Beginning. Wait, it's loading. Okay, there is one.
Oh my gosh.
This one. The left one is the original, and
Uh-huh.
the right one is with Lopez Gatel, and he is the chief of the health in Mexico. He's dealing with all the COVID pandemic. So, which is really weird because Mexico right now is thinking that he will be the president of Mexico, because for first time we have a scientist dealing with the pandemic, and we have a scientist that Mexico knows that is in government, because actually all the governments just was politicians, but he is a science. So Mexico is like, oh my god, he knows. I mean, I will ask Lopez Gatel, also for the April 30th was the Children's Day. They have a media game about the children. Children, ask Lopez Gatel what you want to know about COVID. So right now, I think a lot of children in young age, they are thinking about be a scientist, a biologist, biotechnologist, or so on, because people is really crazy about I mean this guy. I will
Great.
share another picture
My God, I'm
here.
so jealous of Mexico right now.
There are some other piñatas. I mean,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
There's a Kinder Ovo.
there is a normal
With an egg.
street in Mexico. There's actually a really pretty piñatas. I mean, they're really,
Yes.
really nice done. So come on.
That's
So
crazy. That's
the last,
crazy.
this one,
Oh no.
I will share the history of this. This little girl, it seems Susana Distancia, which means the
Social
meter and a
distancing.
half that we have to be between one person and one another
Yeah.
person.
It's
So
social
the Mexico
distancing.
government, because I mean it's Mexico, so we're always running and laughing and so on. So government say, okay, you cannot touch each other. So how can we explain the people that we have a lot of people that doesn't read, doesn't know how to read, doesn't know how to write. So how can we teach the how can we teach all of them that just have to keep the safe distance? So they create Susana Distancia. So that's why the COVID, the SARS COVID-2 is in the hands of the girl, because we are also have cartoons about COVID, and all the government is doing this because it's the best way to get into all the people. I mean, because that's how we live in Mexico. So, so for us, it's actually working. I I think it's really fun, and also I'm really pleased about the response of the people. And right now, I think product of this is people is really thinking about science and the importance of science. So right now, people is like, okay, I will ask a doctor or I will ask a scientist, and no more fake news. You know, no more dogs in the with the
So
That's
jealous, so jealous.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
really what storytelling is about. It's just it's connecting everything. Susana
Yeah.
Distancia is the best.
Yeah,
Suzanne,
No,
Susana Distancia.
in fact,
Also,
in
Susana
fact,
Distancia has WhatsApp. You know,
oh,
oh really?
you can call
put,
her on
put a
WhatsApp.
number here for us. We can join. We can
Okay,
send.
and you
We can
can
send some
call
figures.
her, and she will ask you about, do you have fever, do you have cough, do you have what do you have, and she will also tell you which hospital are near to you,
Oh,
so
Wow.
you can go to the hospital if you need it, right?
amazing.
And it's really working. I mean, we are really happy because
Oh.
Mexico does never have this.
Our president are
Yeah,
trying to do a barbecue. I'm so jealous of it.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Thank you,
Very
Michelle,
nice.
for sharing this with us. And is actually something that sometimes we don't think so much about it. We always hear about fake news and people that is going against this because they make a lot of noise, you know. But then in the end, there is a lot of people there that they understood the situation. They are living, following the rules, and they are taking conscious of the importance of science and research, which is very, very
yeah,
good. So if we have to see a bright side of all the situation, is probably that a lot of people is going to understand why all of this is so important.
yeah.
About that, actually, Marcus, I wanted to know, but which is the plan for US regarding the following events? So, are you going to join all the rest of the world for September with the event in September, if we can do it, or you are still thinking about it?
Well, I asked our cities, and only one person got back to me and said they were too busy to think about it right now for a
Oh,
live
wow.
event. But now that I've seen this event and I've heard about Brazil and Mexico, I think we'll do. I can probably do a virtual event or online event from by myself, like Louise did. So I think
Yeah,
I'll put something together in September and invite all of you, of course, and
of course,
hopefully
of
we'll get a
course,
good turnout. Yeah,
of course, of course.
Yeah,
Let's keep in touch for
of
this.
course.
yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So I don't know actually if we have some questions. Unfortunately, I cannot see the chat. So Michaela will ask you if you can check if there are any
Yeah.
questions.
Oh wait, I have
Uh,
the number of Susana Distancia. Wait.
okay, please
I have to
please
show this.
share in the chat so everybody can ask her some questions. This is awesome. This is very, very cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna send some figurinhas.
Oh my God.
Oh, my telephone.
Yes.
Ah,
I
there.
can't my
You
cell phone
can.
right now.
There is
But
Susana
I'll check.
Distancia.
Yeah.
Call
that is
Susana Distancia.
that is awesome. It's unbelievable. How cool is this?
My
Yeah,
God, it's
in
great.
Mexico.
We even have
No,
limited translation.
yeah, it's wonderful actually how Mexico was. This is one of the crazy stuff that came out from this situation. You know, there are a lot of bad news, but also some
Yeah,
great news, and this is one of the greatest. You know, because
good point.
we found a way. Mexico found a way to use communication and marketing to share good news and to share how people should behave. That is awesome, really, really cool.
But
So while actually Mikael is checking for questions from you guys, from the audience, and of course also if here one of the guests want to ask a question to the other guest, please go on. I will just remind to our audience that next week we are coming back next Thursday, 6:30, and we're going to have a special episode regarding protein alternative, which is actually a very delicate topic, and we asked to a very nice guest to join us and to explain us how actually we can have an alternative, and why probably meat is not the only thing that we can eat to have proteins. Which is, if I say this to my grandmother, probably she's going to have a shock about it. But okay, it's Italy is like this, and we have our tradition. Mikhail, so we have some questions.
Yeah, actually, I have one comment that is really, I think it's wrapping up everything. Ana Laura is saying that she's so proud that Brazil just came to Couch of Science Belgium.
We are so proud about that. Yeah.
Ana Laura is one of the regional coordinators here in Brazil. She coordinates Rio de Janeiro, the states of the Rio de Janeiro, and Espírito Santo.
We're actually really...
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She have to come up with a lot of things because people from there are difficult.
Okay.
Great job.
Okay. I don't know if we want to explore this topic, but thank you, Anna. It's a pleasure to have all of you here, guys. Marcus, Luis, and Michelle. Unfortunately, I think that Johnson is not able to have a stable connection to speak with us, which is it's a pity. So I don't know, actually, Johnson, we say you hello, big hug, even though actually with COVID we should stay in distance, but anyway. And probably in the next week we are going to share some news from him. Maybe we are going to ask him some questions, and then maybe do some posts with some pictures from Kenya, because in the end he was able to organize a very small Pint of Science Kenya in March, before the lockdown was imposed also in Kenya, and he shared with us the picture. So probably we can also share the picture on Couch of Science. And guys, of course, for all the audience, please follow all our channel, not just Pint of Science Belgium, but also Pint of Science US, Brazil, Mexico, and you will find a lot of information.
For now, I have another question, a last question for Luis. Praven just see that one of the event was 2.5 hour event. Wasn't it too long?
Yeah. Oh, well, we can share after this the peaks that we have, because at about 1 hour we have reached a peak at about 1,500 people. That's our good number. 1,500. Yes, 1,500 people. During all the event, the average number of people watching us was about 1,000 people. Even though we stay for 2.5 hours long. It's not a long event, but you have to do something like put more than one speaker, for sure.
Yeah, of course. You need to change your topic.
This kind of interaction that we have here is a good thing to do, because people get boring, And with the slides is a good thing also, because here in the presentation we can change in this StreamYard. We can change. We can put just the presentation, just the speaker. It's a good thing. A 2.5 hours long just talking, no, it's not going to work. But it was good. It was nice. And we stay as long as there are people there. But yesterday, there was still 300 people watching us, and it was already almost 10 o'clock. So we shut down just because.
Yeah, just because. And actually, this make me think about a question for Marcus. So Marcus, you did this very nice introduction regarding storytelling and science communication. What I was asking you that, do you think that storytelling can be dangerous for science sometimes? Because in a certain way, fake news is also this, storytelling, but used for a bad word, a bad scope. So how actually scientists and communicators can fight this, in your opinion?
I think the story has to be true. You can tell your story without necessarily... you don't have to add it's not a fairy tale or fiction. It's a real thing. You just have to have a structure and like a beginning, a middle, and end. Sometimes you hear scientists, they just give you a lot of statistics and then say, here was the result. Well, what made you come up with that idea or that thought, or what made you want to research that? What struggles did you have? And then what was your result? That will give us a story, and then I'll remember that better, more so than if you just say, here was the statistic, or here was the result, and here's what came out of it. So I think just by putting some of those elements, it doesn't have to be everything, but some of those elements in, it'll help people remember the research better. So I don't want to say it's going to be like a fiction or a fairy tale, but just something that has some structure to it.
Okay, so basically the structure for you is the most important, and the fact that only data is not so
right.
sexy, let's say, for the audience. So we need to put together truth and storytelling. Basically, this is what we need to do to engage people and be able to tell them stories that are not just fairy tales.
Yeah.
Right. So when I heard about the scientists studying about the animals in isolated animals, I thought about zoos, and maybe that scientist, when he was younger, thought, oh, I don't like to see all these animals caged up, and then he decided to go research. I don't know, but I would love to hear that story, because that would be
yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
That's true. And in this word, storytelling will help us a lot. And sometimes I might say that we are a bit, over storytelling because we have stories from everywhere, and it's important that also people understood how to choose the good stories, to understand. And probably science has a strong weapon, which is data. So it's something that you can transform and create something very interesting and engaging. But of course, people want to have a story and to get involved in that, and it's important. It's important. That's for sure.
That's too bad we lost Johansson, because someone was saying, Mash was saying that he was enjoying here or his pin from Kenya.
Yeah. Actually, it's really a pity, but unfortunately, the connection is not that good. Sometimes with this kind of live event can happen. So it probably will be for the next time.
Yeah, another thing that for online event is the stable internet connection. Like yesterday, 5 minutes before we enter live, I have a internet connection problem. So
that's a classic. That's a classic.
Yeah,
it's always like this for Couch of Science. 5 minutes before, we always have a problem.
Most of the time, my camera was not working just before.
Most of the time it's me. Most of the time it's my fault. Like 99% of the time it's my fault, but in the end we always figure it out how to do it.
Yeah.
So
today it did not last that long.
No, exactly. So guys,
Renata from the background is saying really kind words about Pint of Science Kenya. And of course, if we have the opportunity to just invite you to another event, we'll be glad to have you on our couch.
Probably if you take some video from Johansson, just to
project, of course,
here, it would be better. Otherwise, to depend on the connection. If he
that would be very nice.
If he sends some words, via WhatsApp, via whatever, you probably should put here. It would be better.
I agree. It's a very nice idea. Thanks, Luis. Actually, we are going to put all this in action as soon as possible.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear from you.
Yeah. Definitely. So, guys, I want just to wrap up and saying that thank you so much for being with us. Michelle, Marcus, Luis, was very nice to have you here. We went through storytelling, we went through how it was tough, but in the end not so tough to do the Pint of Science online. We saw actually how Mexicans are reacting very nice, but also Brazilians, they are facing the problem very, very well.
As I say, the virus here in Brazil is the least of our problem. It's the minimal problem. Here's the virus. Okay?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's the situation for a lot of countries. It's and then thank you to Marcos actually that demonstrate with data that people is not always just complaining; it's also telling stories, which is very good to know. Very, very good to know. As always, I want to say thank you to the background, the guys that of Couch of Science that are trying to help us with the comments. Remind me that actually Parveen, she's a woman and not a woman, not a man, and stuff like that. So thank you so
You're
much,
fired.
guys.
So
I am fired. This is my last live, probably. And thank you, of course, to the audience.
We need to ask to our colleagues, what is your pro tip to survive the situation you're facing?
Oh, of course. I was forgetting. That's true. Very, very nice catch, Mikhail. So what actually we do as a tradition, at the end of each live, we ask to our guests how they survived this situation. So if you have to share with us, if you want to share with us like a TV show, a movie, a game, a video game, whatever that helped you or is helping you during this moment where we are confined in our houses. So do you have any suggestion?
Netflix is good. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm on the Last Dance, the program from Michael Jordan. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Yes. I'm following
the
as
Last
well.
Dance. And home working. I have several students and so on. So actually, this quarantine for me, it's really good because I'm just settled down and organization all my papers, writing because two papers are still in the desk and it doesn't work anymore. And I mean, for me, it's really good. Also, I'm one of the people that is celebrating birthday in COVID, so it's fun. Really good.
Good. Perfect. Luis, for you, what do you suggest to our audience?
We talked about that just yesterday. So it's a really pro tip because it's from a psychologist, from a human psychologist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh. So you have to build a routine in your day life, okay? Even though if to take the trash out, I don't know, take the bath at the same time, take some beer, but you have to do a routine. The beer routine, it's
helping. It's helping a lot.
Yeah, but he told us you have to build a routine. You have to do something the same day, the same time. Otherwise, you're gonna be lost track of time, and then you're gonna stay sleepy. You stay awake until 3 a.m, and you just wake up at the midday. So that will be a mess. So you have to do a routine. I think GTA 5 is on Epic for free today. So Grand Theft Auto, it's a great game to play, and I think it's free for Epic Games.
Okay, perfect. And Marcus, you were showing a box about board games.
Board games, we love it.
What is it? Board game.
But one thing I think is important. I like to read a little bit of history because then you hear how like the Spanish flu was much worse, and I like what Louise did, and then with the the history of pandemics in their last talk, I think that's important because you realize we have this and we have Zoom and we have Facebook and we have Netflix and we have all the we shouldn't be complaining. We should be but we like to complain. I know.
That's true. Yeah. I totally agree with you. And okay, guys, thank you for everything again. We have a comment from Cedric, and he says, I'm in Mexico, but I have been watching the Belgium event each week, and would be cool if the online events continue as much as possible for every country. Yeah, that would be very nice, actually. And we are, at least in Belgium, guys, we are going on at least also in June. And after that, we don't know. we don't know, because maybe all of us need to have a bit of vacation from our house. But let's see. I don't know, guys. You from your countries, are you planning to do some events, some other online events in the future?
Yes, here in Brazil,
Yeah.
definitely, because people from other regions want to do that. On Saturday,
Okay.
we're going to have a meeting with all the other coordinators to see how we do that. We're probably not going to do for 183 cities, but probably we're going to do some more online events for sure.
Okay, nice. And Michelle, are you going to do something else online soon?
Yeah, I don't know how soon, but for sure we are going to planning some. So we are just meeting and so talking about what we are going to do now. But for sure.
Perfect. Marcus, and in US, you think that is going to work? Some online events?
Yes, I've been actually very inspired by you all, so I'm definitely going to try and put something together. But hopefully before the end of the summer, I'll let you all know. But it's really exciting to hear from you all. I didn't know it could work out well.
Definitely should.
Great.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, guys. As always, for the audience, just follow us in our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You will find also the rest of the accounts of these two amazing guys. The only thing that you need to do is write Pint of Science, and then BE for Belgium, BR for Brazil, MX for Mexico, and US for USA. And you will be able to follow all of us and keep in touch. And of course, you can also follow Pint of Science World, where actually you will have all the update regarding each countries. If you want to continue to spend with us a bit of time every week discussing about science. Thank you so much, guys. I don't have anything else to say than thank you, because you were awesome. Your stories were awesome, and I hope that we can do something else sooner. Who knows? And have a nice evening, all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You too.
Stay well.
So much.
Cheers.
Thank you for that.
Stay well.
Bye.
Bye. Mikhail, I will ask you to close this live because right now I cannot do that. And thank you so much, guys.
Stay here. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Oh no, are we still live?